It's behind this gate.
The ground is shaking! It's people!
Yo guys, what is up? Mox in our video, and today we're talking about Honor of Kings World. Now, I actually got to play almost 2 hours of this game recently at Gamescom. The devs of this game, Timmy Studio Group, reached out to fly me out to Cologne, Germany to play this game, and I got to not only play for a fair bit of time, but also explore their booth, play on stage, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know about this brand new ARPG / MMO. I hope you guys enjoy the breakdown, and once again, huge thanks to Timmy Studio Group and Tencent for sponsoring this video. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's do it. So, Honor of Kings World is a Eastern fantasy multiplayer action RPG where you and your friends are going to explore a seamless open world. Now, this game is based on an established IP. It's not one that I personally had heard of called Honor of Kings, but they've reached like crazy milestones. This game, or this IP, reached a milestone of 100 million active players logging into Honor of Kings, which is like a kind of competitor to League of Legends, and this is their first time diving in and making more of a multiplayer ARPG. Of the time that I got to spend with this game, I didn't get to really explore the open world, so that is still kind of a mystery to me. What we did get to do was more instanced combat and instance dungeons and raids and boss fights. This is a game that you are encouraged to team up with friends. So not only could you play with people, but there actually was like challenge modes if you wanted to do things solo. For example, even if you were playing solo, you could opt to have AI companions to make the fight easier, or you could enable like challenge mode where you would basically forego having AI companions and take on these monsters themselves. Now, in terms of difficulty, I got my butt whooped trying to solo some of these monsters, but I definitely had a manageable time when it came to playing, as long as there was some distractions. And I'd feel a bit, or I would relate this game a bit to Monster Hunter, but a little bit more combo focused, flashier, and definitely more fast paced, but it has that kind of dynamics of these big monsters that you're fighting have unique movesets, have unique mechanics that you're trying to figure out and match your combat style to best fit against the monsters that you're fighting. Speaking of combat styles, one of the big draws and probably the aspect of the game that I personally enjoyed the most is this game's flow styles. Now, when you create a character in this game, you're mainly picking the appearance. However, your combat style is something that you can adapt from numerous different heroes. So it's not like you're picking a mage class or a warrior class. There's all these different hero combat styles, and you can pick, combine, and customize those styles, which you pick two of. So if you want to do like a warrior-esque style with a big sword, and then you could pair that with like sword and shield, or you could go like two mage play styles, or maybe you go bow and arrow and daggers. You can really customize your own play style, and you're encouraged to use both of these weapons and combos together in combat. And it really encourages you to do that. Basically, how it works is you have a weapon. So let's say you have one of the starting playstyles is a sword, but that sword can transform into a hammer. It can transform into a spear, and all of these different weapon transformations are on cooldowns. And so while you're doing your basic attacks, you can transform into the hammer and do follow-up hits with the hammer. And then immediately, if you follow back up within our basic attack, it'll like teleport you to the monster or the boss that you're fighting. And then you can infinitely chain your combos. But because your cooldowns are specific and local to that weapon, you're incentivized to swap between playstyles so that you can constantly use your different abilities, and you can kind of just go after a boss that is that you don't have to like dodge their attacks. And the monsters in this were pretty aggressive. Now, in terms of the bosses that we got to fight, There were a few. They were all like fairly aggressive. I was very, very active in like, you know, if a monster wasn't focusing you, you could be a little bit more relaxed and hang back and use if you had a ranged weapon or hit them in the back. But when a monster was aggroing you, it was very fast, constantly dodging, getting out of the way. The monsters had different like enrage phases and mechanics that you had to deal with. And all of the bosses are inspired by like ancient Chinese myth and resemble Eastern culture. Besides just boss battles, and these are not things that I got to experience, but I've been told about, I've heard that there is world hubs and areas to explore where you can see other players. It is a open, seamless world, so you can just go out and explore and go and do various types of activities, such as crafting, where you can take the like parts of the monsters and things that you've killed to make new gear, as well as also just kind of doing lifestyle content like farming and hanging out in different hubs. My personal favorite flow style that I got to use, and I didn't use all of them, was the like bow style. I'm very much a bow enjoyer in many games, but Honor of King's World is doing bow very well. You've got a few things going on for you. Obviously, you've got your like default bow attacks, and you can charge it for more damage. But you've also got some special abilities. The first loads your bow with like enhanced arrows that as you shoot, you can shoot faster, and they kind of like rain down extra damage on all of your shots. Your next bow attack basically allowed you to charge up. You'd really wind up a big shot, and then it would do this big follow-up kind of explosion as your arrow passed into the enemy. And then lastly, you got to put down an AoE that kind of doubled as a CC and damage. I believe this would work on like smaller mobs. It didn't do it for the boss, but I read it in the description that basically any enemy in your vicinity will basically become levitated. So you've got a crowd control, but also while you're in the circle, you deal additional damage. So you can use it as an offensive skill to kind of plant your feet and do a bunch of damage with your other skills. Or you could use it as like a retreat / CC to make enemies hold off on charging you if you're getting overwhelmed, hover them in the air, and then attack them. In addition to your abilities that you were using as you were attacking and landing your combos, you'd build up an ultimate charge, which will allow you to do some pretty crazy attacks. And you also had a summon. There was different summons that you could have. They were on, I believe it was like a minute-long cooldown, where you could summon an ice bear that would come in and kind of put these massive ice spikes down and freeze the boss. And that was kind of an additional layer of utility and damage to your kit. Guys, that is going to do it for our first little impressions and overview of Honor of King's World. Overall, this seems very, very promising. The combat that I got to play was fast. It was fluid. It had like a decent level of difficulty where I wouldn't say it was like an overly challenging game. Don't expect anything like Souls-like or Monster Hunter punishing. However, it's got enough level of difficulty where you need to be on your toes, you need to be actively dodging, managing your health, and your cooldowns to efficiently kill these bosses, because they are also on a time limit, so you can't just take forever to take these things down. There's so many aspects of this game that I haven't gotten to see, such as exploring the open world, the farming, the crafting, the progression systems, and how it really feels to customize and build out these full flow styles. So there's still so much more to see with this game. I hope you guys enjoyed our little early impressions. Huge thanks to Timmy Studio Group and Tencent for sponsoring this video. I'm going to leave you guys with some raw gameplay so you can get a better feel for the game and how it works. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.
So, it was the Crimson Beast all along!
I thought fire was your thing.
Let's save the jokes for later. Be careful!